This week, Jason Biggs, Mina Suvari, and Chris Klein sign up for summer fun and sun in American Pie 2.
Nicole Kidman is unhinged by a haunted house in The Others.
And Chris Rock and David Hyde Pierce defend Bill Murray's immune system in Osmosis Jones.
Who wants me to touch Amber?
Oh, yeah!
You guys first.
What?
You don't touch, we don't touch. That's right.
They've got a year of college under their belts, but they're still thinking below the belt in American Pie 2. I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. American Pie was the Porky's of 1999, a ribald sex comedy starring a cast of mostly unknowns as horny teenagers on a mission to get lucky by prom night. The entire cast has been reunited for the sequel, which packs more laughs than the original and even squeezes in a sweet love story in among the gross-out gags. It's the summer after the gang's first year of college, and Jason Biggs is still clueless about romance, so he turns to an old friend.
I left you like 3 messages after prom.
Really? You didn't think I was weird? Because of the way I acted that night?
Weird? No. Surprising? Yes.
That's Allison Hannigan as the geeky but sexually confident Michelle, who agrees to be Jim's Jedi Master and teach him the way. Sean William Scott is back as the obnoxious Stifler. Thomas Ian Nicholas is Kevin, who is still hung up on ex-girlfriend Vicky, played by Tara Reid.
When a girl tells you how many guys she slept with, multiply it by 3, and that's the real number.
Kevin Myers did not sleep with 3 girls in Michigan.
But why would he lie to me?
It's not a lie, it's an adjustment. It's the rule of 3, okay?
The rule of what?
3. If a guy tells you how many girls he's hooked up with, it's not even close to that. You take that number and divide it by 3, then you get the real total.
That's Natasha Lyonne as Vicky's deadpan friend. I wish they'd given her character more to do here. But considering the high quotient of scatological and sexual jokes, American Pie 2 does a pretty good job of giving the characters a chance to develop and to grow, so to speak. I also give it credit for not pulling punches. There's no PG-13 compromise at work here. If you're going to be a raunchy teen film, be a raunchy teen film with nudity, politically incorrect humor, and liberal use of the F word. I laughed out loud at least a dozen times, so I'm recommending American Pie 2 without apologies.
You know, I laughed a lot, too, although I'm not sure it's funnier than the first one because the first one had the benefit of the elements of surprise and freshness.
Right.
But this is a very funny movie. You know, the character that's beginning to grow on me is Jim's dad, played by Eugene Levy.
Yeah.
This has to be the most supportive and understanding father in the history of the universe because in every movie, his son gets into an unspeakably embarrassing situation.
Right.
And we can't even talk on television about what happens in this movie to poor Jim and his father. I'm proud of you, son.
Jim's dad. It's perfectly natural.
Yes, right.
We'll go through these things together.
This
He's
happens
right
to
there
everyone. You're
He's
wondering,
very funny.
This has never happened to anyone before in the history of the world.
Yeah, exactly. But I like this one better because actually I'm more familiar with the characters, and you know, that Stifler guy is just funny. I mean, he's a jerk, he's crude, he's obnoxious, but when he walks on the screen, you laugh because you remember how funny he was. So, I mean, compared to some of the dreck we've seen, this proves it's not easy to do gross-out comedy. Movies like Animal House and Caddyshack, they endure all this time, and I think of the American Pie franchise well, because it's hard to do. When it's done well, you appreciate it.
Now I'd like to see American Cake, which would be about 4 or 5 girls, because I think there's also an angle there to be exploited.
I'll watch that, too.
Our next movie is One You Can See at Home. Things Behind the Sun is our cable watch choice this week, a strong, brave film by Allison Anders about a pop star who's arrested drunk 3 years in a row on the lawn of the same house in Cocoa Beach, Florida. It was in that house, we learned, that she was brutally raped as a teenager. Kim Dickens plays the singer, and Gabriel Mann is a journalist who's writing a story about her and has a secret of his own.
I know who the guy is. The guy who raped her. I know who he is.
The episode has marked her life and inspired her latest hit song, but it's left her disturbed and self-destructive. Don Cheadle, very good here, plays her manager and former lover, who wants to protect her but finds himself helpless.
Last place I want to go is home.
Well, you can hang out at my place if you want.
Ken?
Yeah. Provided you're not planning on doing any more drinking.
Confronting the demons from her past, the singer returns to the house and is welcomed by its current owner, Elizabeth Pena, in a scene of great, subtle, emotional power.
Over there is the kitchen. And, down this hallway are the bedrooms.
Oh, yeah, I know.
There's more going on there than meets the eye, because that house, the very one used in the movie, is the same house where director Allison Anders herself was raped when she was 12, and this is a courageous autobiographical film. Kim Dickens is always convincing as the singer and rape victim in all of her various psychological states, and Don Cheadle does a wonderful, subtle job as a man who wants to help, but is shut out by the intensity of her pain. The reporter's first-hand knowledge is not just a gimmick, but actually a key to recovery for him as well as for her. Things Behind the Sun plays on Showtime starting August 18th, and it's our Cable Watch choice of the week.
Well, and thank goodness there are venues like Showtime for these movies to be seen, because this is a really good film with terrific performances, and I think Kim Dickens here becomes a star. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of what Bette Midler did in The Rose, where you've had somebody who's on the verge of stardom, a lot of talent, but is so deeply troubled. And maybe if she wasn't troubled, the music wouldn't be so powerful. And you mentioned Cheadle's performance, very quiet, very good, very powerful. And Eric Stoltz as this guy who's beyond evil. It's, again, a brave performance, because nobody pulls back from it. It's not all tight, neatly tied up at the end either.
Yeah, he's really hateful. And he's been in just about all of Allison Anders' pictures. And, she doesn't make, like, tidy little docudramas with a moral at the end. And it's like after-school educational television about sexual abuse. Allison Anders is a funky filmmaker who is really into music and really into contemporary lifestyles, and as an individual, she's a kind of an eccentric legend among independent filmmakers. And when she makes this film, you can really feel the beat of her own life and of her own style in it, instead of just a cut-and-dry
It's tough to look at this thing sometime, but it's a real strong piece of work. Okay, coming up later in the show, the Farrelly brothers team up again with Bill Murray in Osmosis Jones.
Ha! Now who's evolved?
And coming up next, wartime widow Nicole Kidman is haunted by the others.
Where is my daughter? Are you mad? I am your daughter.
There are a lot of haunted house movies, but few haunted houses that are so frightening we remember them years later. The Overlook Hotel and The Shining set the standard, and I'd rank the Victorian Mansion and the others just below that. Shrouded in fog and isolated on an island in the English Channel, the home is a prison of sorts for World War II widow Nicole Kidman and her 2 young children. The kids can't go outside because they're allergic to sunlight.
And the angel of the Lord called unto... Shh!
Kidman is so tightly wound that we're not sure if she's mad or if the house truly is haunted. Her daughter swears she's seen a little boy and a blind old woman in the house, but Kidman doesn't believe her until she has a vision of her own.
What's the matter? Where is my daughter? Are you mad? I am your daughter.
The Others is punctuated with jump-from-your-seat chills and a kind of half-dreamy atmosphere that keeps you guessing until the end. We're not sure which scenes are real and which are filtered through Kidman's increasingly unhinged personality. This is the English-language debut from the young Spanish filmmaker Alejandro Amenabar, and it's a wonderfully crafted Gothic thriller with a great performance by Nicole Kidman.
I didn't like it quite enough to recommend it, although I agree with you that it's very well crafted, and Nicole Kidman gives a really terrific performance. I'd love to see this kind of setting and this kind of style used, for example, on Turn of the Screw, which is sort of the other side of this story in a way.
Okay, but what about this movie?
What I didn't
do you not
like is that it took a little too long. It was too languorous. It dialed down a little too much. There was a little bit too much fog and a little too much dreaminess, and by the end, I was kind of drowning in atmosphere.
Yeah, but there are a lot of thrills and chills punctuated, and you've got to have those slow moments so that you're scared then. And there's a lot going on in that house. I mean, it moves at a certain pace, but there's kids whispering, and there's these housekeepers that show up, and we don't know if they're human or who, what's going on here. I think it gives you time to think about all
of that. And I also know that this is a classic ghost story that isn't trying to pump up the volume, but on the other hand, you have to find a certain rhythm, a certain tone for any material, and I think that having gotten the right tone in a way, he needed to just kind of compress it a little bit. It just takes too long to get where it's going.
Oh, I think it has just the right tone so that the thrills and scares really pay off.
Well, okay, coming up next, American Pie 2 had the Sperminator, and now Osmosis Jones has the Germinator. Bill Murray stars.
Just the way I like it. Extra disgusting.
And looking ahead to next week's openings, Penelope Cruz and Nicolas Cage are war-crossed lovers in Captain Corelli's Mandolin.
You think you can come here and turn my whole world upside down? Dad, that's filthy.
Honey, 10-second rule. It's the ground, you pick it up within 10 seconds, you can eat it.
Bill Murray is a man named Frank who discovers it's a very bad idea to eat that egg in Osmosis Jones, a combination of live action and animation that goes inside his body to show a white blood cell and a cold tablet joining forces to fight infection. Inside Frank, we meet Osmosis Jones, with a voice by Chris Rock. He's a germ-fighting cop nicknamed the Germinator who goes into action the moment those germs hit the mouth.
Osmosis Jones to dispatch. We got multiple germs, I repeat, multiple germs coming down the windpipe. And if these bad boys hit the bloodstream, we're gonna be killing.
David Hyde Pierce does the voice for Drix, a cold pill taken by Frank after the original germs develop into a sore throat.
I'd like to examine your irritated areas.
Woo! Never on the first date. Drips.
Drix.
That's what I said.
No, I think you said drips with a P.
Whatever.
Meanwhile, Frank makes things worse by very unwisely eating a polluted oyster at a science fair.
And then I saw him. He rolled in on the clammiest looking oyster I'd ever seen.
Osmosis Jones is 2 movies for the price of 1. The Farrelly brothers, from their Something About Mary, oversaw the project and directed the Bill Murray scenes, and the animation is by Pete Kroon and Tom Cito. The result may sound like a film from health class, but the only purpose here is entertainment. The action is fast and colorful for the kids, and a lot of the throwaway lines and gags are aimed at adults, and it's funny how the cartoon characters move around the body. The stomach is the airport with regular departures for the colon, the brain is City Hall, and lawyers can be found in the hemorrhoids.
Well, there was some clever stuff, but there was just too much gross-out stuff for me, and that's what has me going thumbs down on this. I'm cringing too much during this movie, Roger. I'm looking away from the screen with the vomit jokes and the zit stuff that the Farrelly brothers have done before. So if I'm cringing and I'm kind of wincing like that, that's not funny to me. That's just gross.
Come on. Now you're talking about he eats the oyster, and then the animated cop has to decide whether or not to push the puke button.
Yeah, but then we see pictures in the newspaper of Murray actually vomiting on Molly Shannon. And we see this big zit in his forehead. Like I said, we've seen this stuff before.
We're waiting for that zit to
brothers.
explode, and when it does,
not enough
it's
laughs
funny.
for me.
It's not really... To call this movie gross, after having given thumbs up to American Pie 2, shows that your grossometer is in need of adjustment.
It's perfectly tuned, because this is a more disgusting movie, and there aren't as many laughs.
This is
now,
not...
some
It
of
would
the
be wrong
stuff,
to give the impression that this movie is really disgusting.
It is very disgusting. Bill Murray looks worse than any major movie star has ever looked, and I don't even know if they did any makeup to make him look that bad, or if that's just how Bill Murray looks.
He's supposed to be a slob.
But you're telling me that the scenes where he's eating the egg that was in the monkey's mouth that fell on the ground.
Well, you wouldn't want to eat that egg, but yes,
Chris
it was
Elliott
funny.
Character,
Yes.
this is a very disgusting movie.
Come
They're
on.
going for disgusting. Our argument should be about whether or not it's funny, and I don't think it's quite funny enough to recommend. Okay, we have a completely different movie to talk about now. It's called Innocence, and I found this to be a beautiful and brave romance that might shock audiences because of its daring premise that senior citizens can fall in love and even have great sex. Talk about a revolutionary concept. Charles Tingwell is wonderful as Andreas, and Julia Blake is magnificent as Claire, who shared a passionate affair when they were in their 20s, but then they drifted apart, as young lovers do. A half-century later, Andreas sends Claire a letter, and they agree to meet.
I'm not going to pretend I don't like you anymore. We're too old for that.
What about love you anymore? We went beyond liking.
Andreas has been a widower for 30 years, while Claire is deeply settled into a comfortable but passion-free marriage. It's easy to regain her passion for Andreas.
If we're going to do this, let's do it like grown-ups. Close the curtains. Then close your eyes.
That's not very grown up.
Yes, it is.
Terry Norris is Claire's husband, John, who won't give up his marriage without a fight.
What do you think you're doing with my wife?
I love her.
That's enough to ruin a marriage and my life.
John, stop
You
it.
leave her alone and mind your own business.
What about my business? What about me?
You are my wife.
Oh, let's go. There's no point.
I'm really sorry.
That's good to know.
Written and directed by Paul Cox, Innocence was shot in Australia and in Belgium, providing a gorgeous canvas for this lovely tale. The flashbacks are really memories filtered through Andreas and Claire, and they have a dreamy, melancholy feel. Their younger selves had beautiful bodies and dark, thick hair, but no real appreciation for the treasure that is love. By the time these two meet again, they're almost desperate to make up for lost time. Innocence is a moving story graced with impressive acting, particularly from the two leads.
Oh, it really is. This is certainly on my list of the best films of the year, and Paul Cox is a hero of the modern cinema. For the last 20 years from Australia, he's been making one sensitive, touching human movie after another, and this is one of his very best. I mean, we talk about a lot of movies on this show, and I give a lot of thumbs up, but I'm telling you, if you're somebody out there who's a grown-up and you have a little experience of life, this is a movie. This is a movie for you.
Yeah.
This is a movie that respects your experience, expects you to understand how these people feel. It is a lovely film. I love it.
And it even has some surprises in there. It's not like everything plays out like you think it's going to do. And the grown children are really interesting because they're kind of horrified that their parents still have these, sexual feelings. But as I said at the top, it's daring to show that people of a certain age, they still have the same passion burning.
Yeah, and it's not some kind of a sentimental greeting card. It's not one of those Hallmark kind of movies.
Not at all.
These are tough, intelligent, smart people in a tough situation, and they're dealing with it, and they're dealing with their feelings, and I really love that. I mean,
it's very impressive.
This movie is the kind of movie that I go to the movies for.
Absolutely.
Okay, when we come back, one of the greatest screwball comedies of all time is in the video spotlight.
Ebert and Roeper in the Movies Video Spotlight is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. Try Raisinets in new convenient resealable bags.
William Powell was one of the most elegant of all Hollywood leading men, which is why audiences were surprised to find him playing a bum in a junkyard at the beginning of My Man Godfrey. This is the 1936 screwball comedy co-starring Powell's former wife, Carole Lombard, and it's in the video spotlight this week. Lombard finds Powell in the dump when she goes looking for a forgotten man to win a high society scavenger hunt. This is heartless and insulting, but something clicks between them, and she hires him as the family butler.
I brought you breakfast.
Are you the new butler?
Don't you remember last night?
Well, what happened to Godfrey?
I'm Godfrey.
Oh, you look so different. What happened to those nice whiskers?
The earlier videos of My Man Godfrey I've seen all have cruddy picture quality, but this new Criterion DVD sparkles and shines, and among its bells and whistles is a real rarity, outtakes. Modern movies always save their outtakes, but it's really rare for any to survive from the 1930s, and it's fun to hear Carole Lombard and William Powell using rude language when their dialogue goes wrong. These are our beeps, not the DVDs.
I don't like that.
First part was quiet.
Yes, I know it was, but I stunk up the... No, not only does it make me have something to think of, I got that far. Holy Christ.
Oh, well, what? Christ, where am I?
William Powell was one of the great comic actors, unforgettable as the Thin Man, with perfect timing and an ability to seem to listen to the other actors just a little too hard, as if they weren't quite making sense. He kind of scrutinizes their face dubiously. My Man Godfrey starts out as social commentary, then it becomes screwball comedy, and it ends up as romance, and it's great at all three, and it's in this week's Video Spotlight.
Okay, coming up next, my parting shot. When it comes to titles, send in the clones. This summer's sequels are so simply titled, they could have been named by Big Bird. We've got Dr. Dolittle 2, Jurassic Park 3, Rush Hour 2, American Pie 2. There's no creativity. Why not something like American Pie 2, Back to the Bakery? Last week, we learned the official subtitle of the next Star Wars film. It's Attack of the Clones, set 10 years after The Phantom Menace. Now, I think a title like Jar Jar Binks Dies a Slow, Painful Death would have been better, but at least George Lucas tries. As for the mostly male fans who are working themselves into message board frenzies over this announcement, relax. The movie doesn't even come out till next spring. In the meantime, log off, go outside, and get a girlfriend. But leave the trading cards and the Jedi helmet at home. That's my parting shot.
Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs up for American Pie 2, 2 more thumbs up for Things Behind the Sun, which premieres August 18th on Showtime, a split decision on The Others, another split on Osmosis Jones, and 2 very enthusiastic thumbs up for Innocence, which opens next week.
Remember, you can hear our reviews at ebert-roeper-movies.com and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, we'll be back with Woody Allen and Helen Hunt in The Curse of the Jade Scorpion. And until then, the balcony is closed.
I think you had a real attack of absurdly exaggerated good taste in your opinions about Osmosis Jones.
No, I reacted with a visceral reaction. I was looking away. That's cringing, and that's not funny.
Come on. It's a cartoon. I mean, it's got some gurgles and some spit in it. And
I wasn't
some
reacting to the
stomach juices,
cartoon.
and so
I was
what?
reacting to the live action sequences, which were more disgusting than funny.
Great stuff on TV tonight. Oh, yeah. Time to kick back and get Orvilleized.
Right now at LensCrafters, get a complete pair of glasses with DuraLens, our most scratch-resistant plastic lens for only $99. The $99 DuraLens event. This one you don't want to miss.
Sometimes it seems there's just not enough minutes in the day to do everything you need to do and still make your family dinner. Pull it all together with Manwich.
These babies were conceived using the ClearPlan Easy Fertility Monitor. It identifies more fertile days each cycle than any leading method. ClearPlan, clear results.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper in the Movies is brought to you by...
When I needed muffler service, Dad said there's just one name to trust.
Make it Meineke. At Meineke, you'll get a lot, but you won't pay a lot.